Hello, guys. David Vos here. Oh, man, what a beautiful day we had here in Alabama. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Guys, it looks like Russia is on the move. And this is breaking. I can't be certain because I'm not over there, but I am going to show you a website. It looks to be from Greece, and you can put it into English mode to read it. But it looks like a Greek website. Well, it says that it's a source of international intelligence, defense, military, and strategic news. And it comes in Greek or English. It also says War News 247 Greece, so it does seem to be some kind of a Greek website. And it's not a website that I've seen before, but it is saying that this town called Ugledar has fallen and Russia has taken another town. You remember last week they were taking Soledar and they claimed they took it, but all the news was saying, oh, they didn't take it. Well, now, if you read the fine print, they're admitting that Soledar has been taken. So they just didn't announce that, really. All they announced is, well, they didn't do it, but then a few days later they did do it, and they just didn't announce that. Well, now, if you go on, Google or wherever, any news, CNN, Fox, whatever, all they're reporting is that Russian troops have gone into Ugledar, whatever it means to go into. And that's pretty much all they're saying. They're saying some websites may be saying that Ugledar is about to fall. However, according to this article here, let me show you what it says. It says unthinkable defeat of the Ukrainians brings a new domino collapse. The Russians with a lightning attack take Ugledar. The fortress town has fallen. They say the Russian army with a lightning general attack managed to enter the Ukrainian fortress city of Ugledar. Some people are calling it Volendar, and I've heard Vulingar or something, different pronunciations, from two axes and sweep the Ukrainian defenses. The Ukrainians have effectively lost the city. The Russians have taken over the old police station of Ugledar, the old aqueduct of the city, and also put under control the road axis 532. The road axis, Pokrovsk. What they're saying there is that there's a road that the Ukrainians have been using to bring in all of their supplies and ammunition. Well, the Russians have now taken over that road, this entire pathway that goes to Donetsk. So now, I'll show you here in a minute that there's a lot more going on here than what they're reporting. The Russian forces may be about to take Donetsk, maybe within a few days or something. They're taking little towns and they're kind of surrounding the area. So it says that the Volodar was cut off with the consequence that the Ukrainians lost the possibility of resupply from Pokrovsky and Velakaya Novetskaka, however they pronounce that. The only available supply route remains the road from Kurakovo. So they have one supply route left, but the Russians are probably going to have that cut off very soon. The Russian troops control most of Mariinka's territory, from where they can also exercise fire control on the Kurakovo-Ugledar road section. Battles are taking place in the southern and eastern districts. So this isn't just one town, the whole district. Russian Marines of the Pacific Fleet attack from the direction of Pavlovka towards the western suburbs of Ugledar, trying to enter the side of the defending Ukrainian group. It should be noted that Ugledar has an extensive underground infrastructure. I've been hearing about this. I think it was Soledar, one of the other towns. There's these underground tunnels all over the place. So I don't know what that's all about, but it's just like an anthill with successive lines of defense. Maybe the Ukrainians have been digging these tunnels. I don't know. The general attack of the Russians began on the 24th of the month. It is clear that the Ukrainian forces are collapsing at the speed of light on all the fronts of the Donbass. Second fastest collapse after Soledar for the Ukrainian army. The Russian Marines of the 155th Brigade of the Pacific Fleet forces of the VDV paratroopers, as well as the forces of the Donetsk Somalia Battalion, are fighting in the city. As can be seen, the Russians gathered their elite forces for this attack. So they're sending in their better military now, and they're taking charge. The 72nd and the 79th Brigades of the Ukrainians have suffered heavy losses. The development is pivotal to the fighting in the Donbass by capturing this city. The Russians are moving the front and the danger away from Crimea. Ugledar is a heavily fortified fortress and a key stronghold in the area, protecting the flanks of the Ukrainian line on the Mariinka-Kuryakovo line from the south. That is why it has huge consequences, and its fall will inevitably lead to the fall of Mariinka and Kuryakovo. So, it says, the Russian troops entered Ugledar. The first forces of Marines and paratroopers are now fighting inside the city in a battle that is decisive for the outcome of the war in the south. This was stated by the Ukrainian military correspondent Butusov, admitting the defeat of the Ukrainian forces. The battle for the Ugledar will determine the entire course of the further war in southern Ukraine, he wrote. Butusov noted that Ugledar is of key importance for Russia. It is a strategically important communication point in the south of Donbass, a border for the development of the future Ukrainian offensive against the Crimean corridor. It says the units of the Russian army managed to successfully put the city in tongs from the southwest and southeast directions. The attack on Ugledar is conducted from two directions simultaneously, ensuring the fragmentation of the Ukrainian forces so that the city can be quickly captured by Russian troops. In the future, this will greatly simplify the process of advancing the Russian army on the territory of the Donetsk region. During the powerful offensive actions of the Russian army, the armed forces of Ukraine were unable to hold the defensive lines protecting the city. The capture of Ugledar can radically change the balance of power, Denis Pushlin, head of Donetsk, told RIA Novosti. We are expecting good news from Ugledar. The encirclement and subsequent liberation of this city solves many problems. The control of this settlement will give our troops access to the directions of the Red Army and Kuryakovo, he explained. He says there is also information about the transfer of reserves in the armed forces of Ukraine in this direction, including artillery forces. The task of the Ukrainian reserves forces is to repel the advanced units of the Russian armed forces. There is fighting in the city, and the first houses have already come under Russian control. Our artillery works very dynamically, preventing the Ukrainians from hitting our assault units, as well as breaking through the defensive structures. The fall of this defense hub will open the opportunity for our troops to attack in various directions, Russian correspondent said.
Да, хочу показать, как освободители освобождают в Угледар, блядь. Вот вам освободители, блядь. Сука. С самого утра в наступ пошли.
Yeah, guys, this is a real war. It's real. Wouldn't that be scary, just running around out in the field with your phone camera, videotaping a world war? There's some maps of the area, but it's hard to follow these maps because, a lot of them are written in Russian. Well, let me show you what it's been reported in here in America. It says here, I don't know what this is. This is some kind of website. Don't even know the name of it here. But it says Russian troops enter Volodar, block Ukrainian arms supply path. So they're saying the same thing. They entered the city and they're blocking the supply path. But they're just not saying that the city has fallen. But as we noted, when Russia said they took Soledar, they denied it for a couple of days, but that has apparently happened. Soledar is under the control of the Russian army, and I believe this is probably true that they have taken this Volodar, or whatever it's called. Advisors to the acting head of the DPR states that their goal is to take Volodar and pincers. And that word means like a pincher, like, I don't know, almost like scissors or like little tongs. I guess what they're saying is they're going to take out little sections here and there, and then after they've done that sufficiently, they'll surround the whole area, and then the whole thing will fall. I think this is kind of like the outskirts of Donetsk, and then once they take that, they'll go to Kiev. It says the advisor to the acting head of the Donetsk People's Republic, the DPR, Igor Kimakavatsky, confirmed on Thursday that Russian troops have entered and surrounded the city of Volodar in the Donetsk People's Republic. They entered and gained ground along the outskirts of Volodar, thereby blocking the enemy's forces. Our artillery is attacking the enemy, who is trying to counterattack, he said on the Soloviev live radio show, adding that their objective is to take Volodar in pincers, like they did in Soledar. This tactic is paying off, he added. Another advisor to the DBR's acting head, Yang Gangin, relayed to the Russian one-state broadcasters that the highway connecting the village of Pokrovsky to Volodar is now under Russian control. Although Russian troops were able to take over the city's outskirts, it proves complicated as it is surrounded by mines with underground infrastructure like Soledar and Mariupol. But the advisors simultaneously suggested that the takeover will impede Ukrainian encroachment and ammunition supplies to the area, where they fire their strikes against the city of Donetsk. Says the Volodar direction is the Donetsk sector of the front. The cities of Avdiivka and Marinka are located nearby. By taking Volodar, we can cut off the ammunition supply in this direction, as it is precisely from where Ukrainian troops strike at Donetsk. In addition, it will be possible to inflict both frontal and flanking attacks already from Volodar, Gangin said. So basically, this is all being confirmed here in these other websites, as well as that Russian website, or whatever it is, that foreign website that we read. It appears that this is happening. Russia is now getting the upper hand. So, I don't know, maybe they won't even have to wait till spring. I suspect they'll go slowly and take all the surrounding areas, and they may take Kiev, I think, maybe by spring. That's my suspicion. When they do this this huge offensive, what they're calling this ground offensive in the spring. So, I suspect they'll take Bakhmut pretty soon, too. It says it also comes 2 weeks after the takeover of Soledar, which Kimakavatsky referred to above, where it was a severe site of savage battle with the presence of Ukrainian forces alongside Bakhmut. Both key towns are located in the Kiev-controlled part of the DPR, which became part of the Russian Federation in September. So one other thing I wanted to show you here. This goes into details, giving you the rundown of what Russia's really doing. Okay, I won't read a lot of the stuff that we've already talked about, but Russian forces continued their offensive in the southern Donetsk and Zaporozhye areas, tightening their grip on Ugledar and the Donetsk People's Republic over the past day. It says southern Donetsk and Zaporozhye directions units of the Battle Group East continued their offensive. taking new advantageous sites and inflicting damage by firepower on the troops of the Ukrainian armies. 72nd Mechanized Brigade in the area of the community of Ugledar, and also the 108th Territorial Defense Brigade near the communities of Prichistovka and Novoskolka. So it's not just Volodar. They're making these little pincer strikes all over the area, but it seems like specifically this town of Volodar has been taken. So it says the Ukrainian army's losses in those areas in the past 24 hours amounted to 65 personnel, 1 tank. Now this is just in this one pincer strike. Okay, they're going to explain how many people they've taken out of the Ukrainian armies just in the last 24 hours all over the place. So in this one spot, they've got 65 personnel, 1 tank, 2 armored combat vehicles, a D-20 howitzer, 3 motor vehicles, and 2 U.S.-made AN/TPQ-37 counter-battery radars, the general specified. Russian forces delivered a massive strike on January 26 on Ukrainian energy sites related to Ukraine's military industrial sector and transport system, Konashenkov reported. On January 26, the Russian armed forces delivered a massive missile strike by long-range air and sea-based precision weapons and also by unmanned aerial vehicles against the energy sites, providing for the operation of the enterprises of the Ukrainian military industrial sector. So they're not just taking out electrical plants and stuff like this, but literally energy sites that provide for the operation of the enterprise of the Ukraine military. So that's pretty big. And it says, all the designated facilities were struck, Konashenkov stressed. In particular, the massive strike disrupted the deliveries of armaments and ammunition. Remember, see, this is all happening partly because we just heard yesterday and the last few days that Germany and the United States decided to send these big tanks. They're state-of-the-art tanks, right? The best in the world. And in other words, that's like Russia's now fighting NATO. And Putin has said he's pretty angry about that, and those tanks will burn. And he says they will pay for what they're doing. So the next day after they did this, this happens. And it says they're disrupting the deliveries of armaments and ammunition. Possibly they'll disrupt the delivery of these tanks, including NATO-supplied weapons to the Ukrainian military in combat areas, the spokesman said. The operation of the production capacities for the repair and recovery of Ukrainian military equipment was disrupted. Russian artillery struck Ukraine army units in the Kupiansk area, eliminating over 30 enemy troops in the past day. In the Kupiansk direction, artillery of the Western Battle Group inflicted damage by firepower on the personnel and equipment of units of the Ukraine's Army 103rd Territorial Defense Brigade near the community of Pishannoy and 14th Mechanized Brigade near the settlement of Senkovka in the Kharkov region, the spokesman said. The strikes eliminated over 30 Ukrainian personnel, 2 motor vehicles, a U.S.-made M777 artillery system, and a D-20 howitzer, the general specified. Russian forces struck 2 Ukrainian army brigades in the Kransky Liman area, killing and wounding about 40 enemy troops over the past day, Konashenkov reported. In the Kransky Liman direction, Army aviation aircraft and artillery of the Central Battle Group inflicted damage on the units of the Ukrainian Army's 24th and the 92nd Mechanized Brigades in areas near the settlements of Ostrovskoy in the Kharkov region and Stelmakokov in the Lugansk People's Republic. The enemy's total losses amounted to 40 personnel killed and wounded, 3 armored combat vehicles, 3 mortar vehicles, and D-20 howitzer, and also U.S.-made M77 artillery systems, the spokesman said. In addition, a Ukrainian artillery ammunition depot was wiped out in the area of the settlement of Skurovo in the Donetsk Republic, the general added. Russian forces eliminated over 80 Ukrainian troops in their offensive in the Donetsk area over the past day. See, I mean, they're closing in on Donetsk. That's a bigger city. And that's on their way to Kiev. In the Donetsk direction, over 80 Ukrainian troops were eliminated. I don't even know why we're talking about this Volodar when, it looks like they're taking Donetsk as well. As a result of successful offensive operations by the Southern Battle Group, the spokesman said. So over the past 24 hours, Russian forces also destroyed 1 Ukrainian tank, 3 infantry fighting vehicles, 3 pickup trucks, 1 D-20 howitzer, 2 D-30 howitzers, and 1 Mista-B howitzer, and also a U.S.-made M109 Paladin self-propelled artillery gun, and a U.S.-manufactured and TPQ-50 counter-battery radar, the general specified. Russian forces destroyed a Grand Multiple Launch Rocket System, a U.S.-made M777 howitzer in the Kherson area. Oh, the Kherson area? I thought they had retreated from that area. Well, it looks like they're still fighting over there because they're taking some losses there as well over the past day. So in the Kherson direction, a Grad MLRS, a U.S.-made M77 artillery system, and a Ukrainian artillery ammunition depot were obliterated in the counter-battery warfare, the spokesman said. Russian forces destroyed a radar station of a Ukrainian S-300 anti-aircraft missile system in the Kharkov region over the past day. In the past 24 hours, operational tactical aircraft missile troops and artillery of the Russian group of forces struck 79 Ukrainian army units at firing positions, and also manpower and military hardware in 102 areas. 102 different areas. In the area of the settlement of Senkova in the Kharkov region, a position was uncovered and a radar station of Ukrainian S-300 surface-to-air missile systems was destroyed, the spokesman said. Russian air defense forces shot down a Ukrainian Su-25 ground attack plane near Ugledar in the Donetsk People's Republic over the past day. Russian air defense capability shot down a Ukraine Air Force Su-25 plane in the area of Ugledar in the Donetsk People's Republic in the past 24 hours. They also destroyed 11 Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles in the areas near the settlements of Berestovia in the Kharkov region, Proletarka and Mala Kardashinka in the Kherson region. So, yeah, they're heavily fighting in Kherson still. Minori and the Zaporozhye region, Kermanaya, Abornovka, and Baranikoka in the Lugansk People's Republic, Ugledar, Novomarokhovsky, and Nikoloevsky in the Donetsk People's Republic, in the spokesman said. During the last 24-hour period, Russian Air Force defense systems intercepted 14 rockets of Olha, Uragan, and HIMARS, multiple launch rocket systems in areas near the settlements of Popasnaya in the Lugansk People's Republic, Vladimirovoka, Valorananoka, and the Komsomolsky in the Donetsk People's Republic, and Radensky in the Kherson region, the general said. In all, the Russian armed forces have destroyed 380 Ukrainian combat aircraft, 204 helicopters, almost 3,000 unmanned aerial vehicles, 402 surface-to-air missile systems, 7,644 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 991 multiple rocket launchers, 3,932 field artillery guns and mortars, and 8,191 special military motor vehicles since the beginning of the special military operation. So this is really quite serious, and it's not being reported here really like this in America much. I mean, we can find articles like this, but I don't suppose they're going to be airing this all over CNN and Fox News until they have to, until it's been pretty apparent that they can't retake any of these cities, that they're really losing. Now, of course, if they're really losing, there may be some kind of scramble for NATO to send more troops or more ammunition or whatever, but it looks to me like Russia's got the upper hand. Anyway, I just thought you guys should probably know this. I'm going to go ahead and go, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless you. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.